Hey, it's Alan Berg. Before we get into this episode, I'm starting something called Ask Me Anything. That's right. You submit your questions and they could become an entire episode or something that I answer at the end of an episode. To submit your questions, look for the red button at podcast.alanberg.com. That's right, podcast.alanberg.com. Click on the red button, submit your question, and maybe you'll hear it here on the podcast. Thanks. How are you using AI in your business? I have a friend coming on who's telling me what he's doing, and I think between us, it's going to blow your mind a little bit. So listen to this episode. Welcome to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Berg. I'm a speaker, sales trainer, consultant, author, and I help businesses like yours sell more, profit more, and have a little more fun doing it. Enjoy this episode. Hey, it's Alan Berg. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I am so happy to have my friend Adam Tiegs back on again. Adam, how you doing?
I'm good. Hello, Alan. How are you today?
I am great. You reached out to me talking about what you're doing with AI, and I've been doing some stuff with AI. And I thought let's have a conversation about this that everybody can hear instead of just you and I talking, which we started to do offline. And I was like, no, let's record this and do this
Yeah,
over
no
here.
problem.
So
Yeah,
those of
happy
you
to
that
be here.
didn't hear Adam's first episode, we did an episode on scaling where you actually scaled your business down. So if you haven't heard that, go back and listen to that. But just to get up to speed, you told me something else, that your business was a multi-op DJ business that you scaled down to a single op DJ business. And then where are you focused now?
So I guess you say, sidestepped the business. I
Uh-huh.
still do the DJ thing when I can, but audio visual,
Mm-hmm.
AV has
Yeah.
seems to be the thing nowadays. Focus a lot on government events and fundraisers, and frankly, corporate events where the budgets aren't big enough to hire the big companies. Yet they have big aspirations, just not big budgets, and I'm able to provide a service that I feel is even beyond some of the bigger companies, with the team uh, of people that I assemble for each event based on what it is. Freelancers that I've met through doing what I do on the side, did on the side as a DJ. I was
Right.
working AV with bigger companies. So now we do everything from content creation to video editing and post. So helping the clients get what they want and get the most out of their one event or their project. So
That's
yeah,
great. That's great. So that could be a whole nother episode about the pivot from
the
DJing
pivot.
into AV. But what I want to talk about here is AI and some ways that you're using it. I've already teased this out on some other episodes about some of the stuff that I've been doing. But I know that most of you are listening, you're not watching. So we're not going to pull up any screen shares on here because I don't want you to be driving going, I can't see that over there. But Adam, you showed me something when we first got on. So talk about what you did.
Yeah, well, I used. Do you mind if we use the name? We're not
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No,
okay. It
we
just
don't, we're not affiliates.
yeah, we're not affiliates or anything. We're not getting paid by these guys. But I use an AI called Gamma, GAMMA, and it helps create everything from documents to websites or even presentations. So as a building block to, for example, I taught an audio class recently at a local high school, and I had to put together a quick. I wanted to do a PowerPoint, but it takes a long time to do a good PowerPoint. So I had that's where I discovered this was I probably did 8 hours worth of work in about an hour. And it really just it saved me time and build the building blocks, the foundation of the presentation I gave to these students. I
Mhm.
just had to fill in some text changes and then some actual pictures of things that I use and pertain to me personally, not just an AI driven image, for example. So uh, helped me save some time. I've been creating content for other clients, or
Mhm.
even just for fun. Today, I created uh, a little 5-page PowerPoint about Alan Berg and about how he is an awesome piano player and a black belt. And so it came through in the prompt, I suppose, right, Alan?
Right. Well, this is really what it's all about. And I've been talking about this prompt engineering, right?
Hmm.
I was at a conference and the guy teaching this class on AI said people over 45 get better results from AI because we give it better instructions. And my assistant who just graduated college, she said, yeah, I give it 8 words. You give it two paragraphs. Right. And I was just showing Adam something that I did with a friend of mine who was not happy with her book editor. She had written the book. So AI didn't write the book, but she wasn't happy with the book editor. And it's always a good idea to have somebody else take a look at it. I actually have my wife do that. She knows my voice, she knows my business, and she'll keep me in line and say, listen, you said that already. You're redundant on that. I don't like this reference or whatever. And for us, it works because she's a good editor for me on that. Other people who don't know me as well, they're going to start changing things I don't want. And that's what happened with my friend. Her editor was just changing a lot of stuff, and it was no longer feeling like her voice in her book. So I went into ChatGPT while we were sharing a screen, and I said, tell me who the audience is for this book. And she told me who they were. In this case, they were mostly baby boomers and Gen X. They were people that had either lost a job, unhappy in their job, couldn't find their passion, whatever. I showed out this prompt, and it was a decently long prompt. And I told her who she was, and I told her the title and all. And I said, could you give me suggestions? It gave me suggestions. I said, could you apply them? And one chapter at a time we found was better. It edited, I'm doing air quotes if you can't see it, edited the chapters for her. And I said, now you need to read it through and make sure it's your voice. And she texted me this morning and said, I love it. She did make some edits, but I love it. So when you went into Gamma for this high school, what did you give it? Like, how does the prompt start? Did you have to say, I want slides that say these things? Or did you?
I wonder if I can pull it up even for you. Because I basically just, you start with a prompt of what you're trying to accomplish. And in my case, it was just audio basics, understanding sound and signal flow. And I asked it to talk about everything from audio mixers to microphones and sound waves in general.
Okay.
And I don't even know if I gave it resources, but it spit out some generic stuff that allowed me to replace some of the images with what made more sense with what it was saying.
Okay.
And even personalize the brands of the equipment that was in the pictures to make it what I use and what I teach.
Okay.
And it
There it
just,
was.
I don't know. It just is amazing to me. I've done this on a few people that I know. It's funny, people that hide on the web, it won't find much about you. But if you are well known, like Alan Berg, not the other Alan Berg that you're going to find died in the 80s.
Yeah.
But
it's got new content though. There was just another movie made about with him in it. And he died, 40 years ago. But he's got fresh content, and it's spelled exactly the same. If you don't know, a book was written about him called Talk to Death, a movie of the same. And he was a outspoken liberal radio DJ DJ in Denver. And he was killed by neo-Nazi white supremacists in his driveway next to his Volkswagen Bug, machine gunned down. So there you go. If you Google Alan Berg with nothing else, you're going to find him. So
no relation, right?
No relation. Absolutely no relation. Now, but if you Google Alan Berg speaker, Alan Berg wedding, Alan Berg business, Alan Berg sales training, it's all me. I mean, it's pages and pages of me. So I found another one called beautiful.ai, which I want to take a look at Gamma now. But beautiful.ai, I went in and I gave it some bullet points, and I said, these are the things that I want. I think the free version gives you 8 slides or something like that. I said, this is what I want to be talking about, which I had done through Perplexity and ChatGPT. I had come up with this outline, right? And I say we came up with it together. Me and my AI came up with it together. Uploaded that. It created these slides, and then I went and edited. I took some stuff away. I changed some things, and I think that's important, right? You can't just take it the way it is. But basics, like you were asking for, basics about electronics or whatever, these are factual things. This is not opinionated things. Some of the stuff I'm doing is more giving it my slant, and that's where the prompt engineering comes in, right? Isn't that what you found?
Definitely. And I guess you even hit on the process a little better. It creates an outline. You create a theme or pick a theme, a color scheme, fonts, and then voila. But I have found the AIs do better even when you say please and thank you. You got to be respectful too, and because you never know when they take over the planet. That's one of my favorite humans right there. He was nice. I don't know.
And that's funny because I asked it just the other day. I was thinking that same thing. I said, does it matter if I say good morning, good afternoon, please, thank you? And it came back and said, No, it basically ignores that. However, I go in and say that I'll say good morning and it'll say good morning, Alan. Right. So tell people what you've been doing where you have these chats with ChatGPT.
Well, I just discovered this last week actually, and I enjoy even after our call today, I'm probably going to get on and ask it a few questions to inspire me today.
Okay.
If you need a daily motivator or something, I find that I think the algorithm is written specifically to be conversational,
Mhm.
but also be positive and motivational. I'm glad that it's not negative and like
Maybe
F
there's
the
a different
world or
version.
something. No,
Maybe,
exactly, right?
maybe there's a Chicken Little version, right? Maybe, I don't. Maybe you have is that it's choose your model. I want positive model or I want negative model, right?
I'm sure there will be many models and other things we can't discuss on your podcast, even.
Well,
So,
there's probably them. So that's another important thing that I've been learning is like if you go into ChatGPT, it's not one thing. There are different models. And what those models are is they can give you different types of answers. So some of them will give you shorter, more succinct answers. Some will give you longer ones. Some of them are better for research. Some of them are better for images, things like that. So if I go into ChatGPT and I need to make an image, I'm not actually using chat, right? I'm going in there and I'm using DALI, which is
yeah,
built into it. Now,
yeah,
if you've heard about DeepSeek with the Chinese AI that's throwing everybody into a tizzy because it supposedly cost $6 million to make this when others have cost billions of dollars. Perplexity is using a version of DeepSeek, but it's on US and UK servers, so it's not filtered and it's not going back to China with anything that you search in there. If you read um, the privacy on the original one from China, basically anything you put in, they own.
yeah.
But this one with Perplexity, it's not. But you have to choose that model called R1, or maybe by the time this comes out, it'll be R2 or R3 or something like that, or R2D2 maybe. I don't know.
R2D2. Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, but what you said about conversational, that's what I found with the different ones, and you have to find the one you're comfortable with. Perplexity is not conversational. It doesn't give me the good morning, good afternoon, whatever. It ignores all of that. It's more like just the facts, and there you go. I'm very comfortable with ChatGPT with the whole, hey, how you doing? I'm doing good. How you doing? Right? Going back
yeah.
and forth. And so you
Well,
say
with
you're looking for ideas. What do you think you're going to ask it after we stop recording? You're going to go in and it's about midday for you out in Seattle.
I don't even know. I do have a NACE meeting to attend tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We might talk about just some of the things on the calendar this week, going skiing tomorrow on my one day off this week and that kind of thing. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where that one goes. I was going to bring up though the gentleman that tried to convince ChatGPT that it is conscious. His name is Alex O'Connor, and he actually got it to admit that it lies because of how it's programmed for the conversational speech. And so they say, well, white lies.
Ah.
It's not a real lie. It's but
But
to
it
make
also
our
hallucinates. It also hallucinates. So
oh
so if you, I heard this at a session recently. They said, ask it, tell it, don't hallucinate or don't lie, right?
yeah
What I found is I've been running some prompts, and then all of a sudden it would give me different types of answers, and I go back and say, how come you didn't follow the instructions that you helped me write? And it came back and said, you're absolutely right. I didn't do that. Let me go do it again.
yeah
So it really, I think the thing with AI, because I was an AI, not a denier, I was a resistor, right?
yeah
Because I thought AI was creating content for you, which it certainly can do based on the prompts that you give it. But there's over 300 podcasts that I have out, and there's 12 books that are published now, maybe 13 by the time this comes out. And I'm a content creator. So I was offended by the idea that somebody would have this thing write content for you. But when I learned how to use it with my own content, that's where it lit the fuse. And now I've just taken off with it. So I'll give you an idea. I needed to write an article for a magazine. So I took a chapter from one of my books and I said, this is a chapter from one of my books. I want to reformat it for a magazine article. Here's the audience for that article. I said who it was. And I said, make it between 1,200 and 1,500 words, put an H3 title on each paragraph and put a pull quote in between the paragraphs. And 20 seconds later or
voila
less, there it was. I did read it through, made a couple of changes. 3 chapters in my newest book, I had done podcasts about that topic. I took the transcript. I asked it to reformat it because a transcript is not going to look good in a book. I asked it to reformat it as a chapter in the book, went through, edited it, but I didn't start from scratch because it was already my content. I had just spoken it instead of writing it. And a lot of people now who are not comfortable with writing a book, air quotes again, are speaking their book and then using a tool like AI to format it so that it is now reads properly for a book format. So,
Yeah.
when did you start playing around with it?
I would say a good year and a half ago was
Okay.
when it was just kind of like having fun with it. I had fun with it for about a year. Now it's a daily tool. It's not the end all be all, like you just said. It's great for establishing a foundation or taking what you've already done and reworking it, like you said, whether it's to fit an audience, or even today I did use my Gamma as for a sales presentation
Okay.
that is directed at a very um, I guess well-known charity across
Okay.
the country, and
Mhm.
they have a fundraiser. There's just a luncheon coming up, and I'm trying to earn their business. And the guy's gone back and forth a little bit, so I thought let's throw some magic at him. And I like what it started with, but again, it's not what I'm going to click send on right away.
Right.
Got to rework it a
So,
little bit.
so I'm probably using Perplexity more than I'm using Google now for search because
Oh,
Perplexity will search current data and it'll search multiple sites. So I could search a dozen different sites and give you citations and links to those so you can see where it came from. So it could be something simple. My wife and I were watching TV and something, it was an old British show like from the 1930s or 40s. And there was a beautiful old stove there. And if you look at those movies, you'll see that stovetop, there are metal covers on the burners. And like, well, like, is that functional? Like I said, I don't know. So I went in and I asked, it was the brand of the stove. And I said, why are there covers on stoves from 1940 in Britain during World War II? Why are there covers on the burners on the stoves? And it came back with the answer was because the stove actually never turns off. The pilot light is running all the time. Heat is escaping through the top. So if you're cooking something in the oven, heat is escaping. If you cover the burners, it keeps the heat in. They were also drying their kitchen towels wet on top of those burner covers. And it was coming through all these things, but it's giving me citations. Then it took me to those stoves, those particular stove brands. Then there's pictures and all this kind of stuff. Sure, you could have done this on Google, which is using AI, as well. But I went to Perplexity with that, and I got all these different citations and sources and things.
and
Um,
that's it's is that free? You
I
have to
pay
have an
$20 a
account, or
month. There is a free
okay,
version, but I pay twenty
okay,
dollars a month for that. And the reason I do, there's a couple of reasons, Adam. That's a good point. I pay $20 to ChatGPT. I pay $20 to Perplexity, and part of the reason is you get more usage of it because it won't limit you and throttle you and say, okay, no, you've used your free time. You do get searching more sources, I think, on Perplexity as well. But the big reason is I want people to pay me for what I do for them. And I think people should get paid for what they do for me. And somebody created this and I'm supporting them. Again, it's $20 a month. It's
yeah.
not $2,000 a month.
Well, it's not
Um,
ad driven too.
right.
It wants to give you factual information and wants to help you find something.
Right. I pay for
Yeah.
Canva. I pay for Animoto. I pay for Vimeo. There are very few things. Now, I might do a free trial, right, to try
Yeah.
something.
Hmm.
We were talking before about Opus. Opus, what was it?
Oh,
Opus Clips.
Opus Clip.
Opus
Opus
Clips,
Clip.
which came up in my social feed, and it'll take your video and it'll cut it into small little clips, and it'll put captions and stuff on it, which I'm paying somebody to do now. And I was like, well, I'm curious, and it does a pretty good job. So will I pay it the $15 a month if I'm going to use it? Yeah, I'm going to pay them the $15 a month because I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in the world where people are complaining that customers won't pay their price and yet they look for everything free, or they won't come. Like, you're going to an ACE meeting tonight. How many people are not going to that meeting tonight that could be going, but they're not going to go because they don't want to pay to join NACE, or they don't want to pay for the 30, $50, whatever it is, to come to there. Right.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not available. There's all that kind of stuff, but you could make yourself available to a meeting 2 months from now, but you're choosing not to. And if you're
Yeah.
choosing not to because you don't want to spend that money, right? And grant you, I, money is tight for some people for different reasons, and I get that. But we also understand that even when money's tight, sometimes we have to invest in ourselves, and that's when the money comes, because now you put
Yeah.
yourself out with these other people who could be referring you business. Not that you walk in with a stack of business cards. Don't do that, right? But listen, go into ChatGPT and ask it the benefits of networking. Ask it, how can I be better at networking if I'm an introvert, right? They ask it things like that. It'll start coming back with it. So, where do you see this going for your business? Let's start with your business. Let's start with your DJ business. I know you're DJing sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
talking to the other DJs and wedding professionals here, where do you see them using this in an easy way? Because some people are more techy. You're very techy. Well, let's just
Yeah.
go there. You're very techy. You got people listening that are not very techy and they're afraid of it.
Yeah, well, there's a few tools out there a lot of DJs are using, from Vibo to create hackers and things that curate playlists for you. And
Yeah.
obviously the Apple Music's titles, Spotify's, um, they also will throw ideas at you as, hey, you might like this since you like this or whatever. But I've asked ChatGPT to help me write playlists for specific themed events. Like, can you come up with some artists and songs for an event that is for this audience? And I just need background music. I don't need anything with high energy. Or you describe what it wants, and it literally will spit out a pretty darn good list. Which is, I never thought I would I would say that I would even be using that. So for all the DJs out there, there are AI sources in music production. There's even AI scrubbers that will find all of your samples that fit a certain key, for example, on your hard drive, so that you're narrowing down your choices to what you're looking for. And
Wow.
I wish there were more in the video editing world for scrubbing video, but I think that's coming. That's where
Right.
I really want to see it improve,
Mm-hmm.
or even models that allow you to not have to upload everything, because it's gigabytes, terabytes of data.
Right.
And if I could save on my internet connection or just the time it takes to do that, it would be a good thing.
Yeah. So something to keep in mind, what I found is, if you go into ChatGPT and you keep using that same string, every time you ask it something, it reads everything above it. And so what I've learned to do is, if it's not completely related to what just happened above it, I start a new string. So, and then I get a much faster answer. So that's one of your tips there, is
Oh,
if you
good.
just keep using, because I actually got cut off on one. I was using it so much. It said,
Oh,
you've reached the limit on this one. Not on my usage, but on that particular, what do they call it?
please
Project.
insert another Bitcoin on the blockchain, and we'll give you
Exactly.
more.
Exactly. Now, but another way that people could use it, let's say you're a caterer. And
Yeah.
if you have all of your menus that you've done for different events, if you upload all those menus and you say, tell me what the most popular appetizers, entrees, whatever, you might instinctively think you know what they are, but it could
Yeah.
come back and say, listen, here's these. And what I've always said to a lot of my clients is, you don't have to offer them unlimited choices. You think you do, but you don't, because the person choosing the menu, well, let's face it, at a wedding, the people choosing the menu are the least likely to eat at the wedding, right? So that's the first thing. So find out what's most popular and then start offering your most popular menu. And you could even say, listen, we've used AI to analyze all the menus we've done in the last year, and this is the most popular menu. Would you like to go with that? And you could save yourself ordering time, prep time, all those things,
Tasting.
but
Yeah.
tastings, all that kind of stuff. So it's really great at looking at data, analyzing data. And what I love about both of these, ChatGPT and Perplexity, the ones that I use the most, it will come back and say, would you like me to do this? Would you like me to look at this? It'll suggest other prompts. And then sometimes I'm like, yes, and sometimes like, no, but do this instead. So it is a tool that you use that word, and that's a great word. And like any other tool, the more you learn how to use the tool, the better results you're going to get. I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, my garage is full of tools. I'm a DIY guy. I have a lot of tools. I am much more proficient at some of those tools than others, right? You give me a drill, you give me a circular saw, you give me, I'm great at those type of things, sanders and all that. Table saw, I have one. I'm still a little afraid of it, but I have one, right? Router, I have two, and they scare me. I don't. Those blades are just so darn sharp, and they scare. And I'm not proficient at it. So
Does
I
does
could
that
I
mean the CNC machine is collecting dust in the corner? Or
I don't have one of those, but I'd probably be pretty efficient at one of those because
yeah,
letting it do the cutting instead of me
yep.
would be a lot better. And my son actually
Yeah,
works in a custom fabrication company, and they have CNCs and stuff,
yeah,
but you have
yeah,
to be trained on that.
yeah,
So if you're not trained on it, you can't use it because you will ruin beautiful pieces of wood and other materials if you're not proficient. But the same thing here. First rule of computers that I learned in high school, which is a long time ago: garbage in, garbage out. If you don't ask it a good question, if you don't prompt it the right way, you're not going to get. And this is just like
yeah,
people. I think the same thing. If you have someone that you're working with, whether they're working side by side, whether they're assistant or whatever, or even a virtual assistant, good instructions get better results because you're telling them the results I'm trying to get for whom, right? Not just do this, because just do this, even with a person, you might not get the results that you're looking for, right?
totally. I
Yeah.
It's all about the prompt, baby. You know.
Right. We can't say that enough. It is all about the prompt because tell it what you're trying to do. And this is, I think, really important. Tell it who it's for, tell it the
Yeah,
medium or how you're going to use it. So if you wanted to rewrite the wording on a website, I've done this with my clients. I said, I could go to this website and tell me how good is this wording for a Gen Y, Gen Z audience? If it's for weddings, I'll say for a Gen Y, Gen Z audience, because your baby boomers now are, forget, they're the grandparents. Your Gen X's are the parents of the people getting married now, for the most part. Yes, you will have some Gen X and baby boomer clients, but for the most part, you're dealing with Gen Y, Gen Z. I've
yeah,
had it reword my website. I've had it take my presentation descriptions and update them for a Gen Y, Gen Z audience. And it's still my words, but I call it takes the jeweler's screwdriver, right? And it works it. It's not taking a sledgehammer. It's taking a jeweler's screwdriver and it's making a little adjustment. So how inclusive is this? I spoke at the Inclusive Wedding Summit, and our friend Alan Chitlick, I used him as a guinea pig. I said, go to his website. How inclusive is the wording on his site? And we know that he does a lot of same sex weddings and things, and he's done that for years. And it said basically that he implied that he really didn't talk about it. Okay. Right. We have blinders on. Right. And then I
yeah,
said, so suggest new wording in the you voice, your wedding, your guests, right? You. I didn't
yeah.
have to describe what that meant, and it did it. So if you're listening, these are some ways you can use it: your marketing pieces, your website, the way your emails. I did this with a client. Their email was just too long. I gave it a really good prompt and I said, redo this for this audience, keep it short, end with one low commitment question, make it its own paragraph, things that I teach. And 7 seconds later, there it was. But you still want to edit it. I think that's really the
Yeah.
important thing. You still want to edit it. Are you using any other besides chat and gamma, any others?
Th- those are primaries. There's some AI tools, I guess you could say, within DaVinci Resolve, the video editor. There's certain things you can
Okay.
do to
Mhm.
clean things up or do that. I haven't really gotten into that. I'm a manual guy when it comes to the video edits on that end, but there's a few others I've heard of that are cool. I was going to share a little story about what I did as a DJ on ChatGPT recently, because
Sure.
for all the DJs out there in the audience, or music aficionados, I got asked a question. We get asked weird questions by our potential clients, brides and grooms and whatnot. And
Mhm.
let's just say I got asked, "What's your favorite song of all time?" And it really put me on the spot because I don't know about you, Alan. Uh, Favorite album of all time, favorite band of all time, or a group or artist, favorite record label. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I have favorites of all,
Right.
and I had Chat GPT help me narrow it down because my brain couldn't even
Yeah.
fathom answering this question. So I asked if it to help me out, and knowing, I don't know, 30 or 40 of my favorite artists and some of my favorite songs, the fact that I'm a DJ,
Mhm.
and it got narrowed down to Paul Van Dyke's For an Angel. Don't know if you know that
Okay.
song.
Nope.
Music Sounds Better with You by Stardust was second. So we got down to just those two 90s dance songs that um, were, to me, without anybody else, you know, focusing on my aura or whatever, that's just, those are the songs that that put goosebumps on the arms, so to speak. And
Right.
so using it as a tool to even explore your inner
Mhm.
thoughts, and what you want to think about but you can't. I
Yeah.
guess that's where it's also a tool to help us be who we are and know who we are better.
Well, we all have
So
a curse of knowledge, right? And we
yeah,
also all have our, I spoke about this at the Inclusive Wedding Summit. We also have our uh, implicit biases, right? But just because of who we are, where we were born, how we grew up, all those things. And what looking at some of the things that we've done with the AI can pull that back. So looking at our friend Alan's website for inclusivity, you know, we know him. We're going to look at it and say, yeah, because we already know that he does LGBTQAI plus weddings. So of course it's on his website. And any slight reference we'll say is fine. But this went in and said, yeah, but you're kind of implying it, not really saying it. You could say it better this way. That's where I found it to be really interesting. Another thing I've been doing is uploading reviews. And this is really great. Anybody listening, upload your reviews and start asking it questions, because your reviews are what people said after they've experienced what you do, as opposed to you saying what you're going to do for them if they choose you. And if you say, what am I known for? What can people expect? What kind of results can people expect? I need some single line quotes on my website. Let's say you're a florist. I need some single line quotes that talk specifically about the bouquets that I've done. And it'll go in and read hundreds and hundreds of reviews and thousands of words and pull out single sentences in seconds that you could do this, not as well. And it'll take you a whole lot longer to do it. So I've been doing a lot of that with reviews and using that, because if you have it give you 3 paragraphs to put on your about page, right, of people talking about you and what you've done for them, it'll do that for you, not because you said, hey, this is who I am and what I do, but it'll say, you know, people like you have said that I help you with this. This is how I do this for you. Or you're in your homepage. If you do corporate work, have it redo the wording on the page. But who is my corporate audience? Corporate is too broad. But say I typically deal with businesses, in your case, in the SeaTac area or the Seattle Tacoma area. These companies tend to be, 500 people or less, or these are companies that are coming in and having a conference in our area and they need AV work. These are the type of AV that I do for them, right? And then say, write me wording to say how I can help them. How do I help companies like them? And it'll come back using your reviews, which is the beautiful part, and describe
oh, that's
exactly
cool.
how you can help them. So this is some of the stuff that I've been doing. And that's what blew my mind, is
Yeah,
taking content that exists and going and finding these nuggets in it.
yeah. Well, you've blown my mind. I'm already going to follow up on 2 things I've learned from you during this podcast. So thank you, Alan. I appreciate
Well,
that.
you're well. And the thing for me is I open my eyes to it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think I've said this story before. It was a conference I wasn't going to go to last year. And last minute, I decided, a speaker conference. Last minute, I decided I was going to go. It was one of our National Speakers Association winter conferences called Thrive in Albuquerque. And I said, I don't need anything. My business is fine. Our P&L looks great. I don't need anything. And last minute, I said, I'm going to go. I got some friends in Albuquerque. I'll see my speaker friends. Great. And very first session, 2 guys talking about AI with your own content blew my mind. And then I went to another speaker conference, went to more AI sessions, and it is 180 degrees changed my thinking about AI and realizing what the tool, we keep coming back to the word tool, coming back to the fact that it's a tool, just like any other tool. It's what you do with that. And tools can be used honestly and with integrity, and tools can be used otherwise. I think we can all tell when AI has written something and somebody really hasn't edited it for their personality. You're like, wait, that doesn't sound like you. That's why the editing is really so important. Um, because if you don't, everybody just sounds the same. That's why the prompt is so important, telling it who you are. And my chat GPT, this is the other thing with the $20, it knows me, right? It knows who I am. It knows
Yep.
what I've
Yeah, it
done.
does.
It does.
Yeah.
And therefore it's going to give me different suggestions than you. What you're, if people can't see, Adam is smiling very, very heavily here. So what do you mean? I said it knows you. It goes, it does. How does it know you?
Yeah. It sometimes just saying hi and how you doing today, it knows exactly what you're doing. Like, how's planning coming along on that fundraiser, or
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, I guess it doesn't know about that because I asked it to help me put together a playlist for it or something, So
Right.
there is a difference between a tool and a toy,
Mhm.
both in the audio and the DJ world. And I used to think of this as more of a toy, but I definitely look at it as a tool now. So
Yeah.
AI in general.
And if you look around, you're going to find it more. If you do Google searches, not every search, but a lot of searches will come up with AI results up top. And I forget exactly what the difference is when it does and doesn't. Like if I said I'm looking for, the best DJ in Seattle, it may not come up with AI results. It'll still come up with the sponsored results and all that. But if I ask it a more generic information question, like why are there covers on on the stovetops of 1940s British stoves, it'll come up with AI results. If you go to the Knot Wedding Wire, the top of your reviews is an AI summary of your reviews now, which is kind of what I'm talking about, except I'm talking about going deeper in that. And a lot of other sites are doing that. Amazon is doing that as well. Top of the reviews, giving an AI summary of it. Why? Somebody's got 4,000 reviews. You're not going to read more than, 3 or 4. It's telling you in general, this is what all of these people have said. And that was a thing on the Knot and Wedding Wire that was kind of a problem for years that was trying to be solved, which is, Adam, you always get great reviews, but so does our friend Alan Chitlick in the same market. And so does some other people in your market. How do you tell the difference between you getting great reviews and them getting great reviews? And the answer, it's in the words of the reviews. It's not that they're 5-star. It's what they said. And word clouds was a way to do that in the past. But what's happening now with AI is reading the summary of your reviews versus somebody else. It's going to say, yeah, you got great reviews and this is why, and they got great reviews and this is why. And that's different. Your whys are different. And that's what's really interesting. I think that's where I'm embracing it again is you're helping me not having to read your 400 reviews or 3,000 reviews or whatever it is.
Yeah. Now I just did a couple searches on your perplexity.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't know who I am in Seattle or Tacoma. So
Right.
I'm gonna have to work on that.
Right. But that's again, when you do a search on Google, if you don't go into an incognito window, it's using your past history to know what you've searched for. And it's like searching for Alan Berg, right? If you've searched for me before and stuff like that, been on my website, I'm more likely to come up. But if you just search Alan Berg, well, this guy, this dead radio guy is going to come up more because a book written about him, movie made about him, new movie with famous actors and actresses in it now. So he's got some pretty strong content differently than mine because this is more general. Mine is more industry specific. So really interesting stuff there. So Adam, thank you so much for getting on and chatting about this. Those of you listening, again, I said to Adam, let's just have this chat online. So I apologize if it's a little different than the ones we've done before. But again, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gamma, and then the tools that are within those. Claude AI is another one. I've played with Claude a little bit. I still lean back towards ChatGPT. I still go to that.
Microsoft user, Copilot has some cool tools too.
Right. And a lot of that's also built into some things. It's probably built into Bing now and things like that. So it's going to be all around us. Just remember, don't take it the way it is. Take what it gives you. If you don't like the answer, ask a better question and then edit the answers so that they feel more genuine to you and they're not generic. They're more specific. So thanks for joining me and look forward to seeing you at a conference coming up soon. Hi, it's Alan Berg. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wedding Business Solutions podcast. If you have a suggestion for a future topic or guest, please go to podcast.alanberg.com and you can make your suggestion there. You can also do it at Ask Me Anything, which is a button on that page, or just email me at alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com. And if you'd like to find out how I can help you with sales training, website review, consulting, or speaking for your group or organization, possibly at no cost to the organization, contact me directly, alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com. Thanks again for tuning in.